Yes, it's 0% tax. There are indirect taxes, sometimes we dubbed as an expat tax. Schools, you have to pay for schools. There is no other option. And they can range from, sake of argument, £16,000 through to £30,000 per child. You potentially also look at, well, certainly on some of the Facebook groups, you'll get fines for the most minimal traffic offence, which people will dub as an expat tax. Owning a car in Dubai is relatively inexpensive and probably a must. But yes, zero tax culture, but rent or buying is expensive and certainly has become a lot more expensive over the last 2 years. So you have to do your research as to where you're living, how you're commuting, what you're going to buy, are you going to be better off there? It's not just thinking, yes, it's 0% tax. There are many other factors to figure out, especially if your children are involved. Are you going to have a live-in nanny? Are you going to require healthcare? Is your spouse going to work? So from a lot of these factors, there's multiple different angles to where to make just the move to go, yes, this is a 0% tax move. There's a lot of other factors outside of that, so do your research from that perspective. There is a fantastic amount of convenience living in Dubai in terms of Noon, Talabat, InstaShop, 15 minutes, you can get anything delivered to your door. You do slightly pay for that. Weekly cost, you're probably looking at £300 maybe, give or take, depending on family, depending on where you're shopping and what you're doing. One of the largest supermarket chains is Spinneys, otherwise dubbed as Spennies. Can be ridiculous prices on certain imported goods, but from another perspective can be very well priced relative to other international cities such as Singapore and Hong Kong. Sake of argument, the price of tomatoes, the price of bread, the price of, the UAE actually does grow a fair amount of its own produce, which, they can import from Oman, etc., and the nearer region. So from an expense perspective, there's definitely more that can be paid for convenience. Oh, the internet is full of advice. Depending on, well, we've just made this mistake ourselves. If you have children, the best bit of advice I can give anybody is choose which school your kids are going to and then choose where you live. You end up with, our round trip at the moment is currently between an hour to an hour and a half, twice a day. We did not listen to that first bit of advice that everybody gives you. So if you have children, choose where the kids go to school and then try to choose your proximity. If you can get within cycling or walking distance to school, everything is, I would say, gravy from there on. Outside of that, depending on where you're working, if you're living downtown, if you're living in Media City, on the Palm, you can live further out. If you've got more flexibility on hybrid working, there's a lot of very good, I want to say, deals to be had in terms of condos and villa living, which would make a very big difference to your, what would be the word, to your quality of life in Dubai. Probably best, you can do a lot of virtual tours if you can't get to Dubai beforehand, which we did. Speak to any friends, extended friends, to get a feel for which school, where are their kids at, what do the parents think, what are the problems, what are the pros, what are the cons. You probably need to put your kids down for multiple schools, which is usually a 500 AED, so it's £100 like a registration fee, which you can do multiple times at multiple different schools. So an international transfer is usually better at the end of the school year, so that runs the same as the UK, so from August through to August, or summer to summer, Northern Hemisphere. So usually better to go end of year and plan your career or your international move through that window. If you're going mid-year, it's a lot more difficult to get kids into school, but it is very possible. So speak to friends, do your research on the internet. Again, a lot of the schools are well thought of, and they all have 5-star reviews and pros and cons. Depends what you want. Sport, depends if you want A-levels, international baccalaureate, etc. Some don't offer certain routes, which if you're thinking ahead through to GCSEs, A-levels, and then maybe a return to a UK university or a US university or an Australian university, you have to think about what that route might look for your child. There's a lot more capacity being built in. For example, Harrow School are opening 5 kilometres down the road from where we're currently living in Dubai. It's busy, but I don't know of any cross-section of, for the sake of argument, 20 or 30 couples moving from Singapore, for example. None have had a problem getting their kids into, I would say, first choice school. So there's sometimes a bit of give and take on if one sibling gets in one place, there might be a bit of lag in time before you know if the other sibling gets in. But generally seems okay at the moment, and there is a lot of capacity being built in. Wait, like take what your budget is, double it, double it. It's everybody jokes about this, but the first few months it's what was Elon Musk's thing, just the furnace going with dollar bills in it. It's rent in Dubai is 12 months up front. If you're looking to potentially buy, that's very doable. It's obviously it's a 30 to 40% down, 4% stamp duty. So eminently doable from afar, and a transaction takes about 6 weeks to pass. It's fairly efficient process, but can have its quirks. But yes, 12 months up front, you will have to buy a car. There's only so far you can go with Uber. You will have to put your deposits down for your DWA bill, your Ajari, which is your rental side. And it's just, well, school kids, you've got to put your deposit down for the first terms. It just is, it's an ongoing, first probably 3, I'd say 4 months, and then things start to settle down. And that's the sort of a growing, I wouldn't say a running joke from every expat. It's 3 to 4 months and then things start to settle. But yes, take whatever your budget is, 12 months upfront rent, DWA bills, car, and. Yes. A little bit hit and miss. It's an incredibly complicated, well, not complicated, or it's an incredibly competitive market at the moment, which draws complications from, is someone willing to just up sticks and move themselves there? Are they on their own? Are they a couple? Do they just want to relocate? Have they already got a base potentially in Dubai? Have they got family there? So yes, there are relocation packages. That's usually an internal transfer or move. And some of the clients that we deal with in financial services will offer that. It really is hit and miss. If you can get it, fantastic. If you can't and you're really wanting to move out there, try and make sure that might be factored into the basic salary in some way, shape or form, or maybe a sign-on bonus. I'm seeing multiple candidates just make a move, jump on a plane, chance their luck for 3 months and stay with friends. So if you're in the region, you're there and you're prepared to make that sacrifice and you're looking medium to long term, then it is worth it. But yes, there are relocation packages that clients do. My initial comment to that would be people work hard, probably harder than most places I've seen, factoring in Hong Kong, Singapore, Sydney, London, even New York. People work potentially outside of hours, be it European hours, so starting at 10 and finishing at 10 at night, or starting earlier if they're covering Asian hours, and then push through into European hours as well. So people work fairly long hours, I would say on average, that I tend to see the sort of 8 till 6, but much later into the evening, and people tend to pick up evening work. Certainly in financial services, certainly tend to pick up evening calls and work from home, put the kids to bed. So it tends to be, and again, one of the other things, if you are in the office in a DIFC or let's say commuting up to Abu Dhabi, you probably want to avoid the traffic. So people tend to come in, let's say early, 6:37, and maybe leave early, but then pick up in the evening working from home. So I tend to see people working hard, long hours, and are sacrificing a lot. If they know they've got a good seat and a good job, they're prepared to put the hours in. So it's a double-edged sword from that perspective. Yes, Dubai is now Monday to Friday. The wider region is still Sunday to Thursday. So there will be, if you're dealing with GCC countries, be it Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi, you will regularly get calls on a Sunday, which is just their working week. So Dubai is very much a Monday to Friday. People do tend to work on the weekends. It really ebbs and flows depending how busy people are, but tends to be a good place to enjoy your family time and fit that around work, but people tend to work longer and harder outside of that. A lot more family friendly, a lot less traffic, a lot quieter. I have had multiple clients, candidates, if they're not in ADGM, if they're single and looking to enjoy life, after 6 months in Abu Dhabi, they tend to be frustrated that there isn't much to do as a single person. So they tend to spend a lot of time in Dubai. For families, it's a very, very worthwhile move. A lot quieter, a lot more family orientated. So from that perspective, yes, people work hard, same as Dubai, but it has much more of a, I would say more of a relaxed feel to it, and a more family orientated feel. Use your network. Facebook, there's some very good Facebook groups. I'm not an advocate necessarily of Facebook, but for British Dads Dubai, for certain sports groups, so pick up a sport, road cycling, paddle, dare I say it, I'm quite enjoying now. Tennis, road cycling, going out to Al Qudra. There's a lot of different sports. If you make, being a standard expat city, if you make a little bit of an effort, you'll get a lot coming back in return. So give a little bit and you'll get a lot. So look for any sports you like, any hobbies you might have, be whatever that might be. There's quite a vibrant sailing scene in Dubai. I mean, you can even go skiing. So from making friends is leverage any of your network, reach out to people. Once you start to get introduced to other people, you find your mix of work, play, etc. So it's very easy, but you have to make a bit of an effort. Well, having 2 young kids, I'm probably less of a person. I'm probably more of an afternoon rosé and barbecue kind of guy. Things have changed. Good, very vibrant. There's a lot of, so Dubai recently has become like the international, like off season for Ibiza. So a lot of international DJs are playing every weekend, certainly on the off season. So what's that, over the Christmas season when times are good. So, well, off season for Ibiza. So lots of DJs, an awful lot of stuff in terms of concerts. I mean, we've had Coldplay, U2, not U2, sorry, Green Day, God knows, various others come through over the last 3 or 4 months. It's a huge stopping point. Nightlife in terms of clubs, very vibrant. Beach clubs, the best in the world. So there's whatever you would like, be you an old man boozer watching the rugby, some great sports bars, and you'll find a really good cross-section of friends that want to do that. If you want to go high-end clubbing, there's the best clubs in the world. So there's a real mix and some fabulous restaurants as well. It's kind of take what you pick. And if you're in Abu Dhabi, you're an hour and 15 minutes away from Dubai. So you can drive down, taxi back. It's probably a 30, 35 pound taxi back from Abu Dhabi and there and back, so not bad. A real mix. If you're buying it in an MMI or an African Eastern, so wholesale booze, in some points I'd say it probably is cheaper than the UK. So a bottle of rosé or a bottle of beer, cheaper than Sainsbury's. So drinking at home is relatively inexpensive. Drinking out and about, you can get some fabulous 2 or 3 hour free flow deals, which would be, I don't know, 40, 50 pounds, etc. Some fabulous ladies' nights as well, where it makes things very inexpensive. You can pick up a pint of beer for 10, 12 pounds, up through to maybe 20 pounds. Probably 8 pounds is about the cheapest you might get on happy hour prices. But if you start to learn, there's some great apps as well, Privilege, Entertainer, and various others that you start to figure out where you like to go, what you like to do, where your scene is, and then you can figure out how to make the best of those. I guess, pricing. So alcohol doesn't have to be expensive. They have just added on the alcohol tax they took off for 2 years post-COVID. That literally went on beginning of January. So that was 20%, but a lot of places have absorbed that. And there was a bit of, what would be the word? A bit of up in arms, I think, from the wider community that I'm not sure how many places actually passed that exact discount on that it was taken to 2 years ago, actually passed it on to the end consumer going to bars. So it kind of didn't ebb and flow as much as in terms of becoming 20% cheaper overnight versus 20% more expensive overnight. So a lot of places have absorbed that. Punnet of strawberries. You know what? I can tell you exactly because I bought a big punnet of strawberries for 36 dirhams on the weekend after doing gymnastics with my daughters. So that works out at about £8, and it was quite a big punnet with some massive strawberries from Morocco. For your first year, even if you, well, single or family, you probably want to join up to Privilege or The Entertainer. Some great apps, or one is a great app in terms of giving you access to hotel, daycations, restaurant discounts. If you're looking to get out and about and enjoy Dubai, that's a great, everybody says first year, make the most of it. If you're looking to go out, meet friends, socialize and experience Dubai, it will pay for itself 2, 3, 4 times over. Very. I think in terms of hubs, like Dubai is going through a bit of a transitional phase. The airport's good. It's not as good as Changi in Singapore, but it's good. It's definitely, 30 plus years old now. They are building, in typical Dubai fashion, I guess, Al Maktoum's new airport, the new airport out near Jebel Ali, which I think is 2030 fully operational, which will be the biggest in the world, I think, with 5 runways, and they will transition everything across to that new airport. But yes, I think that Saudi has, is it 10 or 12 flights a day or 9 flights a day back and forth? A lot of people are still quite actively FIFO in and out of Saudi. The wider region, be it Maldives, Singapore, Africa, so very easy to travel and fairly good as an airport, as a hub. British Dads Dubai, that's the Facebook group with, I hasten to know, maybe 14 or 15,000 members. If you need information and you've just moved to Dubai, there's British Mums Dubai, I think, on Facebook, and British Dads Dubai. Any sort of advice, hey guys, I've had a problem with my pest control in my condo. Do rats exist here? Who should I call? This is just, I guess, a good group of guys and who've been there for 20 years, who've been maybe overcharged for something, so they can get you a good angle, a good deal. Like, I wanted the water to be filtered in the house. You scroll back through previous questions and there's 10 recommendations, who to get in contact with, what their pricing is. Exceptionally useful, anything you can think of. Hey guys, I've got a problem in my car. Who do I take it to? What do I do? Guys, I've got a problem. I've been, photographed speeding. They're calling me in for court, help. A lot of good advice. Cafu, game changer. Probably couldn't exist anywhere else in the world. An app that within 1 hour, a little petrol tanker pops up to your driveway and fills your car up without you having to move, and you pay, I think, 80p for the privilege of that. Normal prices. So absolute game changer from that perspective. Just having petrol on demand, tires changed on demand. You can even order new tires for your car to be done in your driveway. They clean your car, they can valet your car. So yeah, it's very much a convenience. Well, very much an app of convenience, but it's fantastic. No. It's pretty warm in the summer. We were there, that was hitting 48, 49 degrees and 41 degrees at 2 in the morning. So it was uncomfortable to sit outside. The swimming pool was probably 42 degrees, and that was in the shade. So in summer, It's doable, it's possible, but I've been conditioned for 10 years in Singapore and 80% humidity at 34 degrees. I found that very similar to maybe 42 to 44 degrees. So it's not as humid in Dubai. It's doable, but it is probably wouldn't walk for more than a couple of hundred meters.